Have you ever noticed how noise always calls for more noise? When you defend yourself, they twist your words. When you fight for recognition, they treat your effort as weakness. And when you react in anger, you hand them the very control they were seeking. But what if silence was not weakness at all? What if silence was your greatest form of power? In a world addicted to reaction, silence is rebellion. It is the decision to step out of the game, to let time, truth, and karma handle what words never could. The Stoics knew this well. They taught that you cannot control others, you can only control yourself. You cannot stop lies, betrayal, or insults, but you can decide whether to hand over your peace or to keep it intact. And the one who guards their peace will always stand taller than the one who loses it in anger. So in this video, we will explore 7 moments in life where silence is not surrender, but mastery. 7 moments where you step back, say nothing, and allow karma to speak for you. Stay with me until the end, because the final lesson may change how you see silence forever. Few things sting more deeply than realizing someone is spreading lies about you. False stories, twisted truths, and whispered rumors, they cut into your reputation and shake the trust of others. The instinct is to defend yourself, to speak louder, to prove every word is false. But here lies the trap. The more you explain, the more you look guilty. The more you chase after the truth, the more energy you pour into their deceit. And in the end, you become tangled in the very web they created. The Stoics remind us, if it is not true, do not say it. If it is not right, do not do it. Others may choose lies, but you must choose integrity. Your worth is not defined by their words. It is revealed in your silence, in your composure, and in your actions. Think of time as the greatest judge. Lies may run fast, but they never endure. Truth may move slowly, but it cannot be destroyed. And when you remain silent, you give space for truth to rise, and for deceit to collapse under its own weight. Karma works like an echo in the mountains. What is spoken always comes back. Those who spread lies eventually choke on their own falsehoods. They create patterns that cannot be hidden, and sooner or later, people see them for who they are. Your silence is not weakness, it is discipline. It is the choice not to descend to their level, but to let nature and time expose the truth. So when lies surround you, remember this. First, trust the long game. Truth outlives every rumor. Second, protect your dignity. If you know who you are, the noise around you cannot shake you. Third, step aside and let karma finish the story. At the end of the day, your silence is not surrender. It is strength. It is the calm confidence that while others play with shadows, you stand in the light. And when the truth emerges, you will remain untarnished, because dignity kept in silence is a victory no lie can steal. Betrayal is like a blade, sharp, sudden, and always coming from those you least expect. Strangers cannot betray you. Only those you trust, those you love, those you open your heart to. And that is why betrayal hurts so deeply. The first reaction is anger, sometimes even hatred. You want to demand an explanation, to hold them accountable, to ask why they could hurt you in such a way. But the more you seek answers, the more you remain tied to them. Betrayal is not a question to be solved, but a truth to be accepted. The Stoics believed that external actions cannot wound the soul unless we allow them to. They can take away your trust, they can destroy your expectations, but they cannot touch your inner peace unless you hand it to them. To be silent in the face of betrayal is not weakness. It is the refusal to let another person dictate your emotions and your worth. And karma, it is precise. The one who betrays will one day be betrayed. Not because you wish it, not because you need revenge, but because every seed sown will bear its fruit. To betray is to plant poison in one's own soil. They may smile today, but tomorrow they will reap what they planted. So when you are betrayed, remember this. First, let go of the need for answers. Some wounds do not require explanations, only distance. Second, Protect your dignity. You cannot control their choices, but you can control your silence. Third, trust karma. Life has its own balance. Betrayal is painful, but it is also a teacher. It shows you who truly deserves a place in your life, and who never did. Your silence is not submission, it is the mark of strength. For the greatest revenge is not anger, but indifference. And the greatest victory is walking away without losing your peace. To be ignored is a subtle kind of pain. It does not scream like betrayal, it does not wound like lies. It is a quiet erosion, a silence that grows heavier each day. When someone ignores you, they are not simply withholding words, they are denying your existence, treating your presence as if it were invisible. The instinct is to fight for attention. You want to ask, "Why don't you answer me? Why do you act as if I don't exist?" But the more you chase, the more you shrink in value. Attention gained by begging is not respect, it is pity. The Stoics teach us, value must come from within, not from the shifting gaze of others. If your worth depends on whether someone notices you, then you have already surrendered your peace. Silence in the face of being ignored is not defeat, it is a reminder to yourself, I am enough, with or without their recognition. Karma moves silently here too. Those who ignore today will one day crave the very presence they dismissed. Life has a way of turning tables. And when that day comes, your silence will echo louder than any words could. So what should you do when ignored? First, resist the urge to beg. Your dignity is worth more than their attention. Second, redirect your energy. Pour it into growth, into people and places where your presence is valued. Third, let silence speak. In time, they will realize what they lost, not because you shouted, but because you walked away quietly. Remember, silence is not emptiness. It is strength, it is space, it is the boundary that says, if you cannot see me, then I will not waste myself trying to be seen. Those who truly matter will never need to be chased. Those who ignore you were already halfway out of your life. And in the end, indifference is more powerful than confrontation. For silence not only protects your dignity, it also allows karma to finish the story. Insults are like stones thrown at you, not to break your body, but to provoke your spirit. Words can sting, but only if you let them pierce your mind. And often, the true purpose of an insult is not to express truth, but to steal your composure. The instinct is to respond, to strike back, to prove that you will not be humiliated. But every time you answer, you give them exactly what they want: your attention, your energy, your peace. Insults lose their power the moment you refuse to acknowledge them. The Stoics remind us, if someone despises you, it is their problem. Their opinions do not diminish your worth. To remain silent in the face of insult is to declare, without words, that their opinion has no authority over you. Karma teaches us that those who insult are revealing more about themselves than about you. A mouth full of venom is a heart full of poison. And sooner or later, that poison corrodes the one who carries it. So when insulted, remember this. First, do not react. Your silence is stronger than any retort. Second, know your worth. An insult does not define you, it only exposes their bitterness. Third, let time and karma do the work. Every harsh word spoken will one day return to its source. Imagine this: if someone throws dirt at a mountain, the mountain does not move, it does not speak, it does not care. The dirt falls back to the ground, and the mountain remains untouched. Be that mountain. Silence is not weakness. It is proof that no insult can disturb the dignity of one who knows their true value. And when you stay unmoved, the one who insulted you is left powerless, because their words vanish into the void, and your peace remains unbroken. Criticism can be a tool for growth, but unfair criticism is a weapon. It does not seek to help you improve, it seeks to wound, to belittle, to break your spirit. And often, it comes from those who cannot do what you do, yet resent the fact that you are doing it. The instinct is to defend yourself, to explain, to argue. But the more you try to justify, the more power you give to the unfair critic. They do not want the truth, they want your reaction. The Stoics teach, if the criticism is true, use it to improve. If it is false, ignore it. This wisdom is simple, yet powerful. Silence in the face of unfair criticism is not surrender, it is discernment. It is the ability to separate what is useful from what is toxic. Karma ensures that those who constantly criticize without fairness eventually reveal themselves. Their words lose weight, their bitterness becomes obvious, and their voice turns hollow. People begin to see them not as truth-tellers, but as destroyers of peace. So, what should you do when facing unfair criticism? First, listen for the truth. If there is none, let it pass like wind. Second, hold your dignity. You do not need to explain yourself to those who do not seek understanding. Third, let silence be your shield. In time, unfair words will collapse under their own emptiness. Think of it like this: if someone throws arrows but they are dull, they cannot pierce your skin unless you pick them up and stab yourself. Unfair criticism works the same way. It has no power unless you give it power. Remember, your value is not measured by the judgments of bitter voices. True growth comes from reflection, not from defending yourself against every baseless word. Silence is not avoidance, it is wisdom. And sometimes, the most powerful answer to unfair criticism is no answer at all. There are people who exist only to provoke you. They throw out words laced with hidden barbs, small actions designed to irritate. Their purpose is not conversation, not truth, but the pleasure of watching you lose control. In those moments, instinct tells you to react immediately. You want to respond, to crush their insolence with sharp words. But remember this: when you react, you hand them exactly what they want, the power over your emotions. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Provocation only works if you allow it to. A harsh remark, by itself, is only sound. It becomes fire only if you let it burn inside you. Karma teaches that those who live by provoking others end up alone. No one wishes to stay near someone who survives by disturbing others. In the end, they dig their own grave, a pit of mistrust and isolation. So how do you face provocation? First, recognize the game. Repeated provocation is not an accident, it is a tactic. The more you lose control, the more they win. Second, let silence be your reply. Sometimes a calm gaze, a faint smile, or no response at all is enough to throw the provocateur into confusion. Third, remember that self-control is the greatest victory. You do not need to prove anything. Every time you remain calm, you defeat not only them, but also the anger within yourself. Think of fire. It can only burn if you feed it fuel. If you add no wood, no oil, the flames die out. Provocation works the same way. Without your reaction, it fades, and the one who lit the fire is consumed by their own frustration. There is a saying, "The strongest person is not the one who defeats others, but the one who cannot be moved." Be like the mountain that stands firm in the storm. The winds may scream, but the mountain remains unshaken. And remember, silence not only denies victory to the provocateur, it protects your inner peace. No one is worth the cost of your balance. For every time you remain calm, you do not just win in that moment, you win in life. There will come a time when someone who once mistreated you realizes what they have lost. But by then, it is already too late. The truth is simple. If they truly valued you, they would never have put themselves in a position to lose you. People often fail to see your worth when you are present, when your support is always available. But when you finally step away, silence becomes their greatest teacher. That is when regret pierces them more deeply than any words could. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." To walk away without anger, without drama, without explanation, this is the discipline of self-mastery. You do not chase, you do not beg, you do not return. You allow absence to speak where words are unnecessary. So how should you respond to regret? First, do not give them an easy path back. Regret is not proof of value, it is only proof of loss. Second, do not explain yourself. The silence of your absence is the answer they must live with. Third, remember that true self-respect means knowing when to leave, and having the strength to never look back. Imagine water slipping through your fingers. Once it is gone, you cannot grasp it again. Your presence is the same. When you are no longer there, the void speaks louder than your presence ever did. Karma ensures that those who took you for granted will face the weight of their own choices. And your silence is the seal that makes the lesson complete. At the end of the day, you owe nothing to regret. Their regret is their responsibility, not your burden. Your only task is to keep walking forward, with dignity, with calm, and with the certainty that once you are gone, you are truly gone. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is not defeat. Silence is power in its purest form, the refusal to waste energy where it will not bear fruit. The world will test you with lies, betrayal, insults, and provocations. People will undervalue you, play the victim, or regret losing you. And in each of these moments, you will face a choice, to react or to remain still. The Stoics remind us that mastery begins within. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." By choosing silence, you do not escape the battle, you transcend it. You rise above noise and chaos, leaving others to wrestle with the weight of their own actions. Remember, karma always keeps its balance. Lies collapse, betrayers reveal themselves, manipulators are exposed, and regret finds its way home. You do not need to prove, to fight, or to explain. All you need is the strength to remain calm, to remain silent, and to trust that the truth never needs defending, it only needs time. So the next time life provokes you, remember this: silence is not what happens when you have nothing to say. Silence is what happens when you already know the outcome.